Panda doesn't have many problems. For example, suspension and brake problems are mentioned. Repairing these units is not expensive. It is worth noting that the suspension life here is slightly better than that of its predecessor. At first, there were complaints about the low durability of the rear shock absorbers, but after so many years, the vast majority of them have long been replaced. Fiat conquered its main problem in Panda 3, alternator failure. We have not yet heard of a typical problem with Italian cars with dual-mode power steering, emergency city function, the elimination of which was relatively expensive, given the cost of the car. Among the more expensive troubles, sometimes there are problems with manual transmissions, leakage in the area of the gear selector rod, known from its predecessor, problems with bearings, at high mileage. There are also several less expensive malfunctions: the backlight of the ventilation holes burns out, door stops wear out, corrosion of the parking brake cable mechanism, and sometimes problems arise with the front windshield wiper motor, stick. The Panda 3 also had several service calls due to a broken rear door lock, incorrectly installed front seat belts, and headlights turning on themselves, a software bug. As for corrosion, it does not occur even in the oldest cars. There were only isolated cases of rust appearing in the area of the registration plate on the trunk door. But the paintwork on the body is soft, quite thin, and prone to scratches. Owners also noted corrosion in the exhaust system. 1.2 Fire. Most cars have a simple Fire series engine, 1.2 with 69 horsepower. It does not impress with either dynamics or fuel consumption, but it has a simple design and decent durability. The lower the mileage, the better. Versions with gas equipment, there was even a factory version with a Tartarini installation, are not the best choice, since such an engine wears out faster. 1.2 suffers mainly from small oil leaks, and after 200,000 kilometers it may consume a little more oil than required by the manufacturer's standards. It's worth noting that the 1.2 engine's oil change interval was originally 30,000 kilometers, but in 2016 Fiat reduced it to 15,000 kilometers, which is certainly better. It is also worth adjusting the factory timing belt replacement interval from 120,000 kilometers to 60,000 kilometers. Fortunately, there are no collisions with the timing belt on the Fire engine. I have good news for you. Now, if you are planning to buy a used car, or learn more about your car, you no longer need to search for the information you need on the internet. We have collected everything in one place for you, on the website carme.pro. Here you can find out everything about the car, what breaks and at what mileage, any problems with engines, chassis or gearboxes, which trim levels are better not to mess with, and how not to lose money buying a used car. You will learn all this on carme.pro. 0.9 TwinAir. The 0.9 TwinAir engine is not the best choice. The two-cylinder turbo engine is complex in design. Its performance is typical of two-cylinder engines, and its fuel consumption is not at all low. 1.3 JTD. The 1.3 JTD diesel also needs to be approached with great caution. It has increased oil consumption, timing chain stretching and problems with the turbine. Due to the too long recommended oil change intervals, until 2016, every 35,000 kilometers, later, every 20,000 kilometers, there were even cases of failure. 1.0. In the latest cars, there are very few of them on the market. You can find a 1.0-liter naturally aspirated petrol engine with a power of 70 horsepower, which Fiat has backed up with a mild hybrid. The same engine is used in the newer Fiat 500, but there are still too few of them to identify any weaknesses. If you buy a Fiat Panda 3, then only with a 1.2-liter engine, since this is the cheapest option in terms of maintenance and possible repairs. The Panda itself does not require large maintenance costs, and it is also quite durable. On the other side of the scale is a rather clumsy character, poor equipment and a small number of driver assistance systems, which is why they even lowered the scores in the Euro NCAP tests. However, if you are looking for a compact car, the Panda may be a worthy option.